Welcome you all again the presentation number 3 regarding data analysis guideline. So last presentation I told you how to test your pilot survey result, and first presentation is related with the secondary data analysis. Now in this presentation I am going to discuss with you how to do your main analysis if you are collecting your information or you're collecting data using structured questionnaire and it is a quantitative type data. And here basically, if your hypotheses are related with to test the cause and effect, for an example, the impact of one thing to your dependent variable. Now this presentation will guide you how to do it. Now, as I told you in the previous presentation, this is the data set regarding the identifying the impact of purchase behavior or changing of the purchase behavior based on celebrity attractiveness, trustworthiness, and their expertise. Now, according to that, the dependent variable is purchasing behavior, and independent variables are attractiveness, expertise, and their attributes or trustworthiness. Now, this is the data set collected with the standard questionnaire. Now you can see 150 questionnaires are entered into the SPSS datasheet. Once you entering your data, initially you need to check whether you have any missing values or you have entered something in inaccurately or there are some typing errors, etc. So that's what we call data cleaning. So in here we need to check whether your variables or your items data entered in a proper way. How to do is, go to analyze, under the descriptive statistics, frequencies. Once you click the frequencies, now you can see, you can select your variables and you can run the frequency analysis. In here we are doing with the data cleaning purpose, we select all the variables or all the items except your questionnaire number. So I just calculate the mean value, therefore just ignoring this mean value in here and just click the variables. Then click OK. Now you can see the frequency analysis result. So by looking at each table like a gender, age, now you want to make sure that you have entered everything without any missing values or without your range. Now since I have already cleaned this data set, I don't have any missing values or any entering errors. So likewise, you can make sure that your data set is in a clean way. So then the second step is, now we need to check your reliability. As I already told you in your second presentation slide, how to do your reliability analysis. Analyze, go to analyze, go to scale, then go to reliability analysis. Now select the items that you need to check your reliability according to your variables. In this particular data set, attractiveness is one variable and it has 6 measurement items. Now in here, we don't need to check with your correlation matrix and everything. Just click OK. Now you can see the Cambridge alpha value is less than 0.7. Now I told you at the second presentation, the item number 6 is not in a standard ways. So we need to remove that. So likewise, you can check If your Cambridge alpha value is less, then you can go with the correlation matrix analysis again. Now in here, I just remove the inappropriate item and run the analysis again. Now you can see Cambridge alpha value is up to the standard and it is more than 0.7. So likewise, you can check all the reliabilities of your desired variables. After you checking your reliability, you can prepare a table based on the Cambridge alpha value, and you can follow that format. I have already uploaded as a sample document in your LMS. Then we need to check your factor analysis, or we need to check your validity. Therefore, we need to run the factor analysis. Go to analyze and dimension reduction in factor. Now, similar to your reliability analysis, in here also you need to select your measurement items coming under the particular variable. Now, I purposefully include that item number 6 because I want to show you the main analysis based on factor analysis. Just putting your selected items into the variable window or variable box. Then go to descriptives. In here under the descriptive, just click the last icon, KMO and Bartle test of sphericity. Then continue. And go to the extraction. So under the extraction, you can see under the method, there is a principal component matrix. So there are several methods. So either you can use principal axis factoring or principal component. I prefer to use the principal component. Then continue. Go to the rotation. Under the method, click Varimax rotation. Then continue. Go to the scores. And here we don't need to do anything. The last one, options. Now in your factor loading, we can give some benchmark that if the factors are more than 0.4 loadings, we prefer to that type of items. So under the coefficient display format, just click suppress small coefficient. That means less than 0.4 factors, it automatically remove from your factor analysis. Normally 0.4 is a standard value. Now in here you can click 0.4. You can click 0.4. That is the standard value. Then continue. And OK. Now you can see your KMO value is greater than 0.5 and significant value of the Bartle test is also less than 0.05. Then in total variance explanation, now you can see all 6 items are loaded into one factor. So that indicate your component matrix. And the total variance explanation, 51% of your attractiveness variable explained by these 6 factors. Now if you go with this component matrix, now you can see item number 6 loaded with negative value. Now that indicates it gives some negative effect to your main variable, that is your attractiveness. So it is better to remove that item from your factor analysis. So I remove that inappropriate item. and do the analysis again. Now you can see with item number 6, the total variance explanation is 51%. But with the item number 5, with the 5 items, now your total variance explanation getting increased up to 58%. Now that is why I remove that item number 6 from the attractiveness variable. Likewise, you can compare with your factor analysis with your items coming under variable. Now this is the way you are running the factor analysis. So likewise, you have to run in according to my data set, I have to run all other variables factor analysis. After completing your reliability and factor analysis, now it is time for you to calculate your mean values. Because now we know under my data set, in order to measure the attractiveness, I have 5 factors. So I cannot run my model with all the 5 factors together. Now therefore I need to take average value of these 5 factors. So that's why we call to calculate mean value. So how to do is, go to transform, then compute variable. Then under the target variable, you can give a name for that. So in here I give mean. Since I have already calculated it, I give it as a 1. Then in here, under the function group, select statistical. Under that, you can see in the bottom table, there's a mean. So once you double click it, it's appear in your numeric expression box with 2 question marks. After removing that question mark, now it is ready to include your items. Just double click the particular item and put comma. Please don't forget to that comma because it's indicate your variable differ with the other items. Likewise, you can enter all the 5 items. One enter and just click comma. I'm not entering that item number 6 because it is not reliable as well as not valid. Then click OK. Once you go with your main data set, you can see at the end your mean values are calculated. Now you see mean 81 is calculated. So that's a way of calculating mean values. After calculating the mean values, if your hypotheses are related to identify the impacts or effect of your independent variables to the dependent variable, in this case, the impact of attractiveness, expertise, and trustworthiness to purchasing behavior of consumer. Now, first of all, we need to run the correlation analysis. So how to do is, go to analyze, see correlation, correlate, and that by variate. Click it, then window is open. Now in here you can select your mean values, your mean value variables. Now after this point, you don't need that individual items anymore. So now we are dealing with your mean values. Now I have 4 variables, so I just have 4 mean values. if you need your mean and standard deviation of each variable now, under the option button, you can click mean and standard deviations. Continue. Then OK. Now you can see correlation analysis. Now on the correlation analysis, you can see each variable are going to be correlated with another variable. Now for an example, pay your attention to the last one, the mean PUR mean my dependent variable. Now it's how that variable correlate with other variable indicate with here. Now you can see the mean attractiveness, mean trustworthiness, as well as mean expertise or trustworthiness, attractiveness, and expertise are statistically correlated with your purchase intention. How I say it is statistically correlated? Because under the SIG value, all values are less than 0.05. If that SIG value is less than 0.05, that indicate there is a statistically significant correlation. Now in here, the highlighted one, now you can see with the trustworthiness and attractiveness, the correlation is not statistically significant. Why? The significant value is more than 0.05. So likewise, you can make the comparison with your each variable and their correlation values. Now after checking the correlation, now we know that there is some relationship between independent and dependent variables. In order to prove there is a statistical significant relationship, now we are running regression analysis. Analyze, regression, linear regression. Then linear regression window open. Now in here you need to select your dependent variable. In this case it is a purchase intention. I put it as a dependent variable. And attractiveness, trustworthiness, and expertise are my independent variables. Enter into the independent variables. Then go to statistics. In here you can just click coronary diagnosis, that we are checking the multicoronary tissue, and the Durbin-Watson value, that is also multicoronary tissue check-in values. Then click continue. Okay. Now in here we need to pay our attention for the three tables. First one is a model summary table. Now according to that, R-square value indicate how much of your dependent variable variance represented by your independent variables. Now in this case, it's only 21.3%. Actually, this is not a good model because at least your adjusted R-square value should be greater than 0.3. Anyhow, the model is significant because in ANOVA, SIG value indicate it is less than 0.05. In order to find out which factors statistically influence to the purchase intention, you can refer the coefficient table. Now in this regard, on the coefficient table, SIG value indicate that only one variable, that is celebrity trustworthiness, is a statistically significant influencing factor because it is sig value less than 0.05. So likewise, you can make your main comparison with regression analysis. Now this is the main analysis you can run with your collected data, or if you are collecting as a structured questionnaire, and your hypotheses are based on cause and effect relationship. Now for an example, if you have some objective to identify the difference between two groups like gender or more groups like age with your respective variables. Now that indicate that type of analysis, mean comparison analysis. Now in here, based on this particular example, now I want to check whether purchase intention differ with the gender. I want to make sure that whether purchase intention differ with the gender. So how can I do is, now I run with the mean comparison analysis. Analyze, come to the compare means. Come to compare means. Now I want to make sure that purchase intention differ with the gender. So normally we know that gender has two categories, male and female. So if you have your observing variable as two categories, you can go with the independent sample t-test. If you have only two categories in your observed variable like gender, you can go with the independent samples t-test. Just click it. Then your test variable is, in this case, purchase behavior. So I enter my purchase behavior mean value variable into test variable. Likewise, you can enter so much of variable into the test variable and find out how those variables differ with your grouping variable like gender. In here, I select gender and enter into the grouping variable. And please don't forget to define your groups. Now, defining indicate how you categorize your grouping variables in your data set. For an example, 1 for male or 2 for female, or 0 for male, 1 for female, something like that. So in my data set, I coded it as 1 for male and 2 for female. I just say 1 as my group 1, 2 as my group 2. If you have 1 for male and 0 for female, in here you need to enter 1 and 0. Therefore, likewise, please remember you can only enter two groups in independent sample t-test. Continue. Okay. Now you can see the test result. Now by looking at the group statistics, you can see purchase intention of the male and female mean values are slightly different. But we don't know whether that difference is statistically significant or not. So then come back to your independent sample t-test result. Now you can see under that sig value. Since the sig value is less than more than 0.05, now this indicates the difference of purchasing intention between male and female is not statistically significant. That means purchase intention of male is equal to the purchase intention of females. So there is no statistically significant differences of purchase intention between male and female. So likewise, you can do this kind of mean comparison analysis. Now again, assume that I want to make sure that whether purchase intention differ with the people age. Now in my data set, age has different categories. There are four, five categories. Now we cannot use independent sample t-test on that scenario. Therefore, we have to use one-way ANOVA. Now remember, if you want to check the difference of purchase intention with respect to your age groups in your sample, age group consists with different categories like less than 20 year of age and 20 to 30, 30 to 40, something like that. So therefore, we cannot use independent sample t-test. We can run one-way ANOVA. Go to analyze. Compare means. And at the end, you can see one-way ANOVA. Just click it. Then select your tested variable, that is your purchase intention in this sample. Then factor indicate how you want to change your dependent variable according to your groups. So in this case, I am preferring age. So then you can click OK. First of all, we want to make sure that whether the purchase intention differ with age groups. Now you can see under the ANOVA table, sig value is less than 0.05. So that indicate the purchase intention differs with respect to the different age group. That's why it indicates sig value is less than 0.05. In order to find out how purchase intention differ with the different age group, now we need to do one more step forward. Again, you can go to the one-way ANOVA, like what we have done previously. Then in here, go with the post hoc. In here, you can see the command called post hoc. Just click it. Now we want to make sure that how purchase behavior differ with the different age group. Then under the post hoc method, click Turkey method. This is the standard as well as well-recognized post hoc method, and this indicates you to make sure that how age going to be differ with the mean purchase intention. Click continue. Click OK. Now you can see the previous ANOVA table again appear. Now our attention is go with this post hoc test table. Now in here you can see they make some comparison. Now I have 4 types of age groups for 80 to 21 and 30 to 45, like 46 to 60 and above 60. Now this one indicate in here for the mean purchase intention or purchase intention of 80 to 29 group people. The purchase intention of 80 to 29 group people comparison with 30 to 45. So that indicates the first row. So that value is significant. What does it mean? When comparing the purchase intention of the people who are aged between 80 to 29 as well as 30 to 45, the purchase intention is different. Then who has highest purchase intention and who has less purchase intention? According to this value, you can make sure that the people who are age range between 30 to 45 have highest purchase intention than people who are in age between 18 to 29. Because this mean difference calculate with mean value of 18 to 29 and it reduced by mean value of age 30 to 45. Since it is given minus value, that indicate purchase behavior mean value of people 30 to 45 is more than people with 18 to 29. So that's why you are getting minus. Likewise, you can make some kind of comparison. So please remember that it is not compulsory to run the regression analysis for all results. So you can do this kind of mean comparison with your results also. So if you have two categorical variable like gender, you can run independent sample t-test. If you have more categorical variable like age, income level, education, something like that, you can run one-way ANOVA test. So these are the basic preliminary analysis you can run with your research. So I believe that now you can run your data analysis by your own self. So if you have any clarification and if you need any assist with your data analysis, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I'm very happy to help you in this regard. So good luck with your study.